I want to posit this observation with you and get your first reactions that there is a major disconnect or misalignment between a provider and the products and services they render and how they're incentivized, and a customer and the way they're motivated to deliver outcomes. It could mean billions of dollars in technology that just sits unrealized, unutilized in delivering value. So I guess, given your experience, what's your reactions to that? Is that a problem, and how big is it?
I would agree it's a problem. I think it's a big problem. And by the way, it is linked to the current headlines that we read about slow growth, inequality. The United States and virtually all other industrialized countries are now primarily service economies. Manufacturing is a much smaller percentage than services. What that means is that services productivity is the driver of growth, and sales in particular is a big chunk of services around the world. So I think the disconnect you're talking about is a big social issue as well as a business issue. Now, the question is, why does it happen? And let me talk about the area I think that I know best and that ecosystems I think adds value to, and that is sales and selling in particular. What is going on in sales is a sustained data revolution, and this will continue for the rest of our lives. There's now data available, and it's increasing exponentially, that wasn't there in the past. But by and large, what that data has done thus far is empower buyers more than sellers. And that's one big reason we have the disconnect. The other reason we have it is the way sales is managed. If you look at sales compensation systems in the United States and many other markets, and you ask yourself, I'm going to use a phrase they used to use at IBM. At IBM, when you really maxed out your incentive comp, they would say, he or she, that sales rep, hit big casino. If you ask yourself, how do you hit big casino in most sales forces? The answer is very straightforward. The data says that annually, this is about 70% of sales comp plans. The incentive component is tied to volume, not profitability, not gross margin, not cost to serve, but simply volume. In a incentive plan like that, the message to the sales force is very clear. Go forth and multiply. And that's what they do. There is no such thing as a bad customer in an incentive plan like that. And that contributes to the significant gap. It's getting bigger, most importantly, because of the data on the buy side, it's getting more visible.
How do you hit big casino with a empowered buyer now?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is there's got to be some joint realization of what we mean by customer value in that particular instance. In the history of business, a market or a market segment has never bought anything. Only specific customers, specific accounts buy. And their sense of value varies because of their circumstances, their business strategies, the nature of the product or service category, etc. So at the end of the day, you've got to bring those two things together. What you do at Ecosystems, the platform that you have, I think is a very good tool for starting that process. But at the end of the day, any platform is only as good as the people who manage it and use it. And in most companies, that's the salesperson, the account manager.